Hey, BookTube Sean here, and today I want to do a library haul for you. Show you all the books that I have checked out from the library, which is 14 right now, far more than I will get to, especially with all the review copies I have to read right now. But sometimes what I like to do, and I might do a try a chapter tag video. I've never done one, but I might do a try a chapter tag video with some of these. But sometimes what I like to do is just read a couple of chapters and make sure that I am actually interested in reading the book, and then get it again, either purchase it or get it again from the library sometime later, and actually read it. So that's probably what I'm going to do with a lot of these is just check them out and make sure I'm still interested in them, and maybe do a try a chapter tag video with it. Let me know in the comments if that's something, if you like those videos and that's something you'd like to see. So let's just get into it. First one is a cookbook. It is the How Not to Die cookbook by Michael Greger, MD, FACLM. I guess he's got a book called How Not to Die that's, about basically plant-based diet and giving your body the nutrients through food that it needs to survive. But this is the companion cookbook to it. I haven't read the How Not to Die book. I didn't even know that there was a book that this was a companion of until I checked this out. But it's mostly plant-based recipes, just to kind of help me expand my repertoire of healthy plant-based cooking. So that's one. You guys know, if you've been watching my channel for a while, that I read and loved Home Fire by Camilla Shamsi last year. So my library had two of her older books, Broken Verses and Burnt Shadows. This one sounds really interesting. It starts on the day of the bomb in Nagasaki, Japan, and ends on right around 9/11, and follows a couple of different families that are connected through events between those two landmarks of history. So that one sounds really interesting. And this one I know less about. I'm going to read the back of it because that's what really drew me into it, and beside the fact that I want to read all of Camilla Shamsi's works after reading Home Fire. In 1986, Pakistan's greatest poet was found brutally murdered, beaten to death by government thugs. 2 years later, his lover, fearless activist Samina Akram, disappeared. Her daughter, Asamani, has always assumed her mother simply abandoned her, since she had left so many times before, following the poet into exile. But now, working at Pakistan's first independent TV station, Asmani runs into an old friend of her mother's who hands her a letter written recently in the poet and Samina's secret code. As more letters arrive, Asmani becomes certain that they will lead her to Samina. Despite menacing signs, the disbelief of her family, and the worries of her new lover, Asmani decodes the letters and searches for their source. But if she manages to locate it, will she find what she's looking for? Merging the personal with the political, Broken Verses is at once a thrilling journey through modern-day Pakistan, a carefully coded mystery, and an intimate mother-daughter story that asks how to forgive a mother who leaves. That sounds really intriguing. So I'm really hoping, I know I'm going to probably have to renew them both to the max times I can renew them, but I really would like to get to these because, like I said, I want to read all of Camilla Shamsi's work. I checked out The Lake House by Kate Morton. This is the book for this month for Krista at Books and Jams Goodreads reading group. And this is a book where a child goes missing, or a baby goes missing actually, in 1933. And 70 years later, a detective visits the estate and comes across the story of the baby who disappeared, and becomes intrigued and goes and visits the surviving matriarch of the family to try and see if she can find out what happened to the baby 70 years ago. So that's actually more interesting than I thought it was going to be. I actually read the like 2-page first like prologue or first chapter or whatever it is, and I was already intrigued. So I'm really hoping I can get to this because I'm interested. I checked out Donna Tartt's The Secret History. I hadn't really known what this was about, and this is just a little short paragraph. I'm sure a lot of you might know what this is about. This has made the rounds a little bit. I know James Chatham just read it and loved it. But it says, under the influence of their charismatic classics professor, a group of clever, eccentric misfits at an elite New England college discover a way of thinking and living that is a world away from the humdrum existence of their contemporaries. But when they go beyond the boundaries of normal morality, they slip gradually from obsession to corruption and betrayal, and at last, inexorably, into evil. That was enough. And it's just a short little paragraph, but that was enough to get me more interested in this book than I've ever been. So that's one I definitely at least want to read a couple chapters of and make sure I'm interested. Now I've talked before on the channel about how I don't read a ton of YA, but there do pop up books occasionally that I am interested in. Most recently, Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. But recently too, I have heard some good things about Renegades by Marissa Meyer. She is the author of the Lunar Chronicles series that is Cinder, Scarlet, Cress, and Winter. I only know those off the top of my head because they are on the back here. And I was mildly intrigued in at least Cinder. I don't know much about Scarlet, Cress, or Winter, but Cinder seemed kind of almost like a sci-fi kind of Cinderella thing, sci-fi steampunky Cinderella kind of thing. I don't think it really is steampunk, but it just kind of, even the cover of it, seeing like robot pieces under her skin, kind of gives me a steampunk kind of vibe too. But I know it's not. But so I was mildly interested in those, but I've heard some good things about this one recently, so I'm intrigued to check this one out. I checked out I've never known how to pronounce this word, Sweet Francais by Irene Nemirovsky. And I'm just going to read the description of this one real quick too. Beginning in Paris on the eve of the Nazi occupation in 1940, Sweet Francais tells the remarkable story of men and women thrown together in circumstances beyond their control. As Parisians flee the city, human folly surfaces in every imaginable way. A wealthy mother searches for sweets in a town without food. A couple is terrified at the thought of losing their jobs, even as their world begins to fall apart. Moving on to a provincial village now occupied by German soldiers, the locals must learn to coexist with the enemy, in their town, their homes, even in their hearts. Now, I've been interested in what this novel is for quite a while. Like, I see it on the shelf, and I know it's a historical fiction novel, but I've never really known too much about it. What I learned, and I'm going to read the little paragraph that told me this, has me even more interested in the novel. Irene Nemirovsky, I did not know that this book was discovered years and years later, and she passed in Auschwitz. So I'm just going to read a little paragraph. When Irene Nemirovsky began working on Sweet Francais, she was already a highly successful writer living in Paris, but she was also a Jew, and in 1942 she was arrested and deported to Auschwitz, where she died. For 64 years, this novel remained hidden and unknown. So that made me much more interested in this novel, now knowing that. That's something I didn't know. So I definitely, like this, if I do a try chapter thing, this will definitely be it. And I'll probably do the chapters are really short in this. It looks like, well, maybe I'll do chapters 1 and 2 for a try chapter tag or something. I checked out the Book of Essie by Megan McLean Weir. I've been hearing this book's starting to make the rounds a little bit. I've been hearing a little bit about it, and I've been hearing some good things about it. And I know this is about this is a teenage well. I know it's the daughter on a reality television show, and she gets pregnant, and there's more involved in how to handle the pregnancy than just the family. So because the production company and everything has to be involved, and I've been hearing some good things about this one recently. So I checked it out, and I'll at least maybe read a chapter or two to see if it's something I'm interested in. This one, Red Clocks by Lenny Zumas, I've been hearing fantastic things about for months. Russell at Ink and Paper blog raves about this book. Juliet, a Girl in a Book, just read this and loved it, and hers is an opinion I really respect. And this is a futuristic novel, but it seems like these days it might not be so far in the future, given certain things. But it is in an America where Roe versus Wade has been overturned, and there are limits. There are laws about reproductive health and children, and it seems, at least I've heard fantastic things about it. It sounds like it'd be very good. I've been hesitant to read it because I sometimes struggle reading books that parallel our current political climate maybe a little too closely. And this is a topic that is very much in the news right now. So I would like to get to it, though. I'm probably at least going to read a couple of chapters and see if it sticks with me. I checked out Lisa C's Snowflower and the Secret Fan. I recently picked up, if you saw my Kindle haul, her Shanghai Girls. And this is the other, probably, I think the novel I most hear about from Lisa C. So I at least wanted to, read a chapter or two and see if I'm interested in it. I've heard a lot of good things about Sourdough by Robin Sloan, and she's the author of Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore. And this is one. It's kind of, I've heard about how it's kind of a mix of technology and baking. It was popped up as a possibility for Book of the Month, and I didn't grab it because I was a little hesitant about it, but I have heard some really good things about it. How long is the description? Yeah, I'll just read it. Lois Clary is a software programmer at General Dexterity, a robotics company with typical San Franciscan world-changing ambitions. She codes all day and collapses at night, her human contact limited to the two brothers who run their neighborhood hole in the wall, from which she orders and savors dinner every evening. Then disaster, visa issues. The brothers close up shop and fast, but they have one last delivery for Lois. Their culture. The sourdough starter brought from afar, used to make their bread. She must keep it alive, they tell her. Feed it daily, play it music, and please learn to bake with it. Lois is no baker, but she could use a roommate, even if it is a needy colony of microorganisms. Soon, not only is she eating her own homemade bread, she's providing loaves daily to the General Dexteria cafeteria. The company chef urges her to take her product to the farmer's market. A whole new world opens up. When Lois comes before the jury that decides who sells what at Bay Area markets, she encounters a close-knit club with little appetite for new members. Then an alternative emerges, a secret market literally underground that aims to fuse food and technology. It might be perfect for the programmer turned baker, but who are these people exactly, and who is the mysterious Mr. Merrow presiding over it all? I wasn't sure if this was something I was going to be interested in, but then I keep hearing really good things about it, so I want to check it out. I picked up Haruki Murakami's short story collection, Men Without Women. Haruki Murakami is an author I've wanted to read for a very long time, and have never gotten around. Like, I've started a book or two of his in the past and just for reasons, varying reasons, never finished one. So I definitely want to check out his short story, because at least if I can read a few of his short stories, I can really get a feel maybe if he's someone I want to check out more. This one you've seen on my July TBR. This is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. This is getting a lot of attention on BookTube right now in fantasy BookTube, SFF BookTube. So I'm not gonna. I talked about it in my July TBR, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on it right now. But it is definitely, I definitely want to get to very soon. And the last book I have is I checked out Junji Ito's Shiver. This is a manga short story collection, and Junji Ito is somebody whose manga I've wanted to check out for a little while, and I've been hearing a lot about him very, very recently too. So I put a hold on this, and it came in yesterday. So that's it. That is everything I have checked out from the library right now. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these, what you thought, if any of them sound interesting to you. Hook up with me on social media. Thank you to all my subscribers. I appreciate every single one of you. I passed the 500 subscriber threshold since the last time I recorded videos. So thank you, everybody. I really, really appreciate it. And if this is your first time checking out one of my videos, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you stick around, hit the subscribe button so you know when I post new videos, and I'll see you all in the next one.